The voice of our community continues to inform how our Board of Education comes together to set the direction for the future of this organization. This month we talked about the metrics that will indicate success, and our Board of Education has actually landed on an agreed upon collection of metrics that we would love to share with you right now.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and Madam Superintendent. This afternoon, I would like to provide a monthly status report on our current work of our 5-year strategic plan. This outline of the 5-year strategic plan was board approved in July of 2020. This outline is the foundation to ensuring or guaranteeing that all students will have more positive learning experience in a Henry County classroom than anywhere else. Let's start with discussing column 1. The first column, Henry County Schools' core belief, is the foundation of the organization, and it represents the culture, the expectation, accountability, and the belief of the organization. This first column of the framework is all reflected in this slide, in which we often refer to as the compass. It creates and keeps a focus on student learning, which is the core business of our organization. The second column, Priority Student Outcomes, is where the Board of Education creates metrics of success, and which creates accountability for the superintendents, which cascades through all the leaders in Henry County Schools and throughout the organization. The student outcome discussion started during round 1 of the whole board training, which was in October. This slide and the previous one displays the board's efforts to beginning the work of creating metrics of success. At the start of this process, there were approximately 130 priority student outcomes. However, round 2 of the whole board training led the board to the process of actually narrowing down and selecting these student outcomes. And round 2 actually took place in November. The next couple of slides displays what the board decided upon as priority outcomes. Priority outcome number 1 started with nearly 30 possible outcomes that were compiled from input from board members, executive cabinet members, as well as building level administrators. The board members were able to narrow this list down to 3. For priority outcome 1, literacy proficiency at every grade level, and they are as follows: reading growth from grade to grade, students reading and writing on or above grade level, access for every child to diverse grade level content, literature, resources, and world language programs. Priority outcome number 2 is readiness to learn at every level. This was narrowed down from about 54. And these are this outcomes during the second whole, and these actually took place during the second whole board training, and they are as following: students who began school kindergarten ready, students' participation in advanced coursework at every level, students demonstrating social and emotional health and readiness. And the third priority outcome, number 3, college, career, and life-ready skills for post-graduation. This outcome was narrowed down from nearly 50 outcomes to now 6. And they are as following: students completing career inventories, internships, apprenticeships, and industry certification, students demonstrating competency in financial literacy, soft skills, and transition goals, participation and performance of students on nationally comparative metrics, graduates meeting competitive acceptance requirement for the university system of Georgia's colleges and universities and qualifications for Zoe Miller Scholarship, graduates meeting college readiness benchmarks in ELA and math, and graduates successfully completing industry certification, persisting through post-secondary degree programs, and or eligible for high-skilled workforce options. Now, allow me to draw your attention back to an activity where we were charged with highlighting every time that we saw the words all students, opportunity, access, and outcome in our 5-year strategic plan outline that were actually originated from community voice and input. This outline and activity is paving the way for the organization to ensure equitable opportunities, access, and outcome for all students. This slide represents where we were during the November board meeting in gathering feedback on defining opportunity, access, and outcome. Again, this process involved counting the words and ideas associated with each of the aforementioned words with district building level administrators and board members. During this count, the objective was to look for agreement of word or terms mentioned by multiple groups. Board members took the input from the previous slide and began giving meaning to equity and equality through defining opportunity, access, and outcome. And after lots of markers, chart paper, discussion, and many revisions, I am proud to report that our board defined opportunity, access, and outcome through a lens of equity and equality. What is equity if it's not advancing opportunity, access, and outcome? Let's start with opportunity. Offering a variety of options, experience, and resources for every student. Then there is access. This word wins the award for the most discussions and revisions. Our board defined access as ensuring utilization of the options and experiences and resources offered. And finally, outcomes. Achieving growth and impact in a variety of options and experiences for every student. All in a day's work, board members stand proud of the work that has been accomplished from both round 1 and round 2 of the whole board training. This certainly was hard work, but you all sure made it lots of fun. Thank you for your dedication to this huge body of work for the students and families of Henry County Schools. And let's not forget about column 3, strategic actions, which represents how we get to the outcomes that emerge from the community when we did our tours. Let's keep in mind it is the board that adopts the frameworks and the measures of success. The board then charges the superintendent to develop initiatives to drive the components or the improvements for all students. I leave you with the next steps for our 5-year strategic plan. Dr. Davis, that concludes what I prepared, and I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Knowlton. Mr. Chair, that concludes what we have prepared, but remain available for any discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Knowlton. Ms. Cobb?
Thank you so much for that presentation, Dr. Knowlton. And it's just amazing that we are to this point now where I feel like we've been talking and discussing and, you know, like you said, all the markers and paper. And now we're finally here. We can finally see, you know, some things kind of come to fruition from all of that community engagement and discussion that we've had. But I want to go back to something that you said, Dr. Knowlton, that was really powerful about equity. And you said, what is equity in a school system if it's not advancing opportunities, access, and outcomes for every student in every school? And I agree with that 100%. And I know this board is committed to equity in our school system. And I just, you know, we kept hearing that from our community, and we believe deeply in that also and have that desire. And I personally would like to see that come to life. And I just believe the best way to do that, creating something stable and lasting in our school system would be through policy. And so I just wanted to ask how the board might feel about the development of an equity policy in our school system, an accountability policy, either one or both, or just would love to hear what my fellow board members think about going through that process and developing that equity policy for our system.
Thank you, Ms. Cobb. Ms. Edwards?
Thank you. Whew. Lots of work. When I looked through this, Dr. Knowlton, a lot of work, but it's been good work. And this board has worked very hard to get to this point. And we're going to continue to move forward. And but when I look at it, it's just amazing. Lots of time, lots of hours, but good work and good work. I can agree with Ms. Cobb, and I will be willing to for us to work on a policy for equity as well as accountability, because I think both of them are needed. So I hope the other board members feels the same way. But I'm just so excited about the work that we've done and the work that we're going to continue to do, because it's all about the students that we serve. And we have, going through this presentation, all the presentations today, we can see the fruits of our labor, because it's all good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Ms. Pope?
Yes, thank you for that. I also love the walk down memory lane to get to where we are. But it is truly amazing what this means for the future of our students. And like I said earlier, the value of what a diploma means in Henry County schools. But this is our community's voice, and this was the desire of our community. And I'm so grateful for their input from the beginning of this. To Ms. Cobb's point, I think that is a fantastic idea. The surest way to ensure that something is lasting and stable and consistent is to put it in policy, so that it does not change with any change of leadership, but has to be changed through policy. I think that an equity policy would be very powerful. As I said earlier, Policy BAB calls for a system of accountability, and I think that is a wonderful way to hold all of us accountable, from the boardroom to the classroom to an equitable access, opportunity, and outcome for every student. And while I know a lot of people just focus on the outcomes because that is the most visible thing, I just want our community to be confident that we are also equally as focused on the opportunities and the access for every student group. As you can see, I'm glad you brought up the highlighted version of that, because that is a commitment of ours. So thank you for bringing that up, and I'm definitely in favor of moving toward that.
Thank you, Ms. Pope. Dr. Nutt?
That was a lot of work. But thank you very much, and having it organized to where we can understand it, or at least I can understand it. And I think having your policy for accountability. Also, don't forget your procedures. So once you have your policy, break down your procedures to make sure it's followed to the nth degree. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nutt. Dr. Davis, it sounds like you do have consensus to investigate an equity policy if you want to start some sort of draft and come back to the board with that. Thank you, Dr. Knowlton.
So as you can see, we are getting oh so close to the final reveal of the completed strategic plan, which will guide our school district for the next 5 years, which is the typical life of a strategic plan. And we're so thankful to the participation of our community in tandem with our Board of Education to make this a hallmark piece to guiding our school system into the future. So thank you to everyone, and stay tuned as we continue to share more updates about this plan as it takes shape.